Morning YouTube, how's everyone out there? Weekend here in the far north Queensland. Thought I'd come outside and do a vlog today because I'm always driving home in the car. Welcome to the channel anyway. This channel is where I look at men's mental health and in particular stress and anxiety and how society and bad choices put you in that state with mental health issues. Today I'm going to look at why it's important to create a harder edge, or as they used to say in my day, harden up a bit. And that's been thrown out the window a lot because of the way society has become and the systems that people get themselves in, like the school system, going through the school system. And that ends up, when they get into the real world, not having the coping mechanisms to get through hard times. And 2025, things have changed. It's gotten harder. It's getting harder. People are losing their jobs, or people are in, like I've mentioned before, low-paying jobs, and they need to level up. They come and see people like me who do training. Of course, I work for someone else, but a training organisation. But in order to get skills to increase their salary, to make life a little bit easier. But today, I'm going to be looking at getting a bit of a harder edge about yourself, to make life a little bit easier when you encounter tougher situations, tougher times. And again, this story is inspired by a younger fella I taught yesterday. He was a part of a group of guys I taught. I think he's in his mid-20s, and again, according to him, he was struggling. And he more or less said that, he was a little bit soft, had a little bit of a soft edge about him, and he needed to harden up because he'd been he'd been a part of the system and gone into low-paying jobs and actually he'd worked at Coles, and their system is quite unique compared to the construction industry. And he wanted to enter the construction industry, but he knew that the construction industry, although it paid well, required you to have a harder edge. And I want to talk about why you need a harder edge, and you can't take the soft options out these days. The world's changed too much. As I said, it's gotten a bit harder, and you need to be more stoic. And today I'm going to look at how you need to harden up a bit by implementing a few strategies, which take time. There's no quick fix. It's like with any mental health issue, it takes time. It's holistic, as a therapist said to me, and of course at that time I didn't listen, but when the penny dropped, I did. And I started implementing, I don't edit, I'm not going to edit this stuff, some strategies. And I guess I picked the easier ones, the ones that I could manage, which were, breath work, exercise, and diet. Okay, they're the ones I implemented, and I found the easier for me. However, we're all wired differently, and you might want to choose other strategies in order to help you get on top of that stress. So, I want to talk about things you can implement in order to develop a harder edge. And that first one is getting out of bed early. Now, for those who are shift workers, obviously that's not going to work. You'll have to obviously develop a different plan. But for those who aren't a shift worker, that is one of the first things you need to do. This sleeping in stuff, like sleeping in at 9, 10 o'clock, it doesn't work. You've got to get up early. You've got to develop, you know, an early rise practice, because research shows that if you do that, you become more resilient when times get a little bit tougher. And again, you'll be ahead of the crowd. And that's what you want to do. You want to be ahead of the crowd. Not only do you want to level up with qualifications, but you want to level up your mental strength. And that's a biggie. Leveling up your mental strength. So getting up early is one. Cold showers the other one. It's the old Wim Hof method that's come very popular, cold showers. Again, it can be a little bit tough. Something that I've been able to do. Do I do it every day, cold showers? No, I don't. I'm not going to lie. But at least 2-3 days a week, or I get up to the river. Pretty hard in the far north to get cold water this time of the year. I usually practice the river stuff if you have access to a river or the ocean. Or you're just going to have to get ice in the bath. Hey, I've done that once too. Pretty expensive going down go and get some ice and put it in your bath. It does work, and it does over time. A bit costly. Those who don't have the money, it's going to be a bit hard. I get that. So what you need to do is find a method to get into a cold shower. Exercise, going for a walk, going for a run, making it a part of your daily routine. Very important. Okay, it takes time. If you're carrying a bit of weight, you just walk more than 30 minutes. Again, it's going to build up some mental toughness, give you a little bit of a mental hard edge about yourself. In order to move forward, especially if you get entering the construction industry or an industry that requires a lot of physical work. I was reading an article, and I've taught a lot of driller, people who want to be driller off-siders. Pays well, but tough work. A lot of people want to do that job, but they don't realise the required amount of work and physical strength in that job itself, but they all want the money. So that leads them into my next point. Hitting the gym, very important. Again, take it easy. Calisthenics is what I do now. I'm a bit older, mid-50, so I don't do the weights. I keep leaner now than I used to be. I deliberately dropped about 10 kilos so I can do calisthenics. I do calisthenics 3 days a week, and I do it seriously. In order to keep strong, because I've got to do a lot of climbing, and I'm able to scale ladders and demonstrate things quite easy because of calisthenics and losing or dropping 10 Ks. A lot of people don't like to drop a lot of weight. When you get a bit older, you want to keep a bit leaner. So that's another one. Exercise, move shit around. Think about calisthenics, the old push-up, the old planks. They work well, they do work. It takes time, ease into it. So you got your cold showers, get up early. You've got your exercise, you've got your calisthenics. Go for a run. These things, research shows that these things work. Implement them slowly if you're carrying a bit of weight. If you haven't exercised for a long time, okay, take it easy or you'll get injured. So they're backed on research. The things will start to give you a harder edge. And then once you've got a bit of fitness based on, I guess your age and how old you are, you can get into my favorite and what I push my kid into. I'm not one of those fathers that is really extremely hard, but I get fairly hard on it. Combat sports, very important for the young guys, young women as well. Get into a combat sport. Kickboxing is one of the best. Judo, jiu-jitsu, or boxing in general. It's going to build your confidence. It's going to give you a harder edge. You're going to be able to face anxiety and stressful situations a lot easier. Endurance type sport strengthens the mind and strengthens the body, gives you a harder edge. Also, financial literacy. Do some basics and some great apps out there that can teach you how to manage your money. Those who are not working, I've talked about cash heavy already, how it's important, what you need to do. It's a slow road, I get that. There's no quick fix. It's an holistic approach, as the therapists love to say, the psychologists like to say, which they are right. I can sit there and have a cackle about it because I didn't listen initially, but they're right. So there's some key points to get you or give you a harder edge to make it a wee bit easier in 2025. Things will not get easy at the moment. They're getting harder. It's all over the media. Look, I don't like to doomsday scroll. I don't believe in it, but the proof is in the pudding when you go to the supermarkets. The supermarkets show, I should say. I know they're price gouging. It's disgraceful. That's another story I'm not going to talk about today. But what we want to get is a harder edge. You have no choice. This is the problem. If you come through those systems that are giving you softer options, it's set you up for failure. But you're not a failure, not at all. It's just a system. You got to brush it aside, small steps, understand what's happened, and rectify it. No one's coming to save you guys. No one. I found out that myself when I went through my own mental health journey with stress and anxiety. And as I go through these videos in the next week or so, I will talk more about my journey. But as you can pick up in my videos, stress and anxiety has hit me in about 3 periods of my life where I've had to reassess, check myself, assess myself, and then implement that strategy. It's the old saying, create a vision, okay? Make a plan, and then execute it in order for you to get a harder edge about yourself. You got to create a vision of what you want to look like, make that plan, implement that plan in small stages, and then, of course, move throughout that. And then you'll reduce your issues of stress and anxiety and become a happier self and a better person for the people around you. Anyway, I've talked a lot. I hope you've enjoyed the view today. It's quite a good view here. I think it's going to rain again. We'll see what happens. Anyway, stay safe. Get yourself into a good headspace. And until next time, peace out.